What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Steve Ostentoski here of Maize n Brew, bringing you a new feature I'm trying out this year before every game. I'm calling it the Key 3. Obviously, it's game week, so this week it's Minnesota, but something I'm going to try out where I break down 3 keys to the game for each Michigan game on the schedule. So I'll show film of the upcoming opponent and describe areas that I believe will be critical for Michigan getting a victory in that week. Before we get started here, check out a couple videos I put out this past week. I put out my recent hype video for the preseason called Year 6, getting good traction there. Thanks to everyone for the positive comments on that. Make sure you throw a like on that one. And then I just released 5 immediate impact freshmen in 2020. Again, I'll put a link in the description for that as well. Let me know your thoughts on that. But okay, let's get right into the Key 3 here. I'll start with number 1. What I believe the most important key is have a game plan for Rashod Bateman, right? This is a guy returning wide receiver of the year for the Big Ten, potential All-American level player, someone you just need to account for. So Michigan's tentative starting for defensive backs: Hill, Hawkins, Green, and Gray. Brad Hawkins was made available to the media lately. Someone asked him what the plan was for Bateman, and Brad Hawkins essentially said that's Vincent Gray's task. People were kind of freaking out about it. Don Brown has grown a lot from the Penn State game where KJ Hamler decimated Michigan's defense, right? That was a game where Michigan seemingly didn't have a plan for KJ Hamler and let him run free all over Michigan's defense. And since then, there's been a lot of change in Don Brown's defense. He's turned his own quite a bit. There's been a lot more changes in Don Brown's defense than I feel like a lot give him credit for. So the key, I think, is to make Tanner Morgan, excellent Big Ten quarterback, make Tanner Morgan uncomfortable. If the primary plan here is to have Gray shadowing Bateman, that's fine. Again, Bateman isn't a freak athlete. He was a lower 4-star, but he is a technician with excellent hands and great routes. So he's a guy, if you've thrown him the ball and he's got a little bit of separation because of that route running, he's generally going to catch it. And he had over 1,200 yards last year, so I'm not trying to discount that. My main point here, Vincent Gray, if he's your best cover guy, sure, follow him around, but you need to throw in a curveball here and there, right? Mix up your coverages. Make the QB second guess himself when he's going to his first read, which will be Bateman more often than not. The more you can make Tanner Morgan uncomfortable in his initial read to Bateman, the better off you are. And you need to make adjustments, and you need to have adjustments in mind if Bateman is a problem. So I guess the key here is simply don't let him beat you. Force the hand on someone else. Michigan had about 3,300 receiving yards total last year. All right, subtract 1,300 of those. That's Tyler Johnson. He's off to the NFL. Rashod Bateman had 1,200 of the remaining, of the remaining 2,000 yards there. Next highest guy, Chris Auden-Bell at 371 yards. So he had over double the rest of the Golden Gophers returning combined in both yards and touchdowns. So this is a guy, it's strictly just if someone else is in single coverage that beats you, so be it. You got. Don't let that be Bateman. So I'm okay with putting your best guy, put Vincent Gray on Bateman. Just throw in extra layers there. Make Tanner Morgan second guess himself when he's going to his first read. Force those uncomfortable situations for Tanner Morgan. All right, number 2, build Milton up early. I'm buying into the Milton hype train as everyone else is, but it's still a new starter on the road, even though it's an empty stadium with COVID. It's a cold environment. It's going to be a cold game. It's his first true start. I'm expecting some initial jitters. I think that's fair to expect those. And Michigan has generally not been a script team. What I mean by that, you don't have a planned drive with things that you haven't put on film before. I think this is a situation where it would really benefit if Michigan did have a couple of drives put together to get Milton more comfortable. So, use your schematic advantage there by running plays that you haven't put on film yet that Minnesota may not be ready for. Get him to make some throws early that take advantage of the team's strengths. So get some screen passes, some quick slants in there. Get him settled with plays that utilize his strengths and get him calmed down. And then you go from there, right? Last thing you want to do is get your brand new quarterback rattled early in the game. If it's a 3 and out, that doesn't give him any time to be established. Grow some confidence, lean on your running game, and spread the defense out with some end arounds, some easy throws that can really utilize the strength of your athletic wide receivers and your deep running back room. So I think it also gives it kind of goes along with this, but it gives time for the offensive line to gel. Again, gain some confidence early while it's a more experienced offensive line, not in terms of starts, but these guys have been in the system a few years. Filiaga, Stuber coming off the injury. You have Mayfield there. So if Michigan has one thing, it is experience. Lean on that. Give some time for the offense to gel, and don't lean on Milton to make those plays. Get him built up early with kind of those scripted plays. Utilize your skill set in your running backs and wide receivers, and go from there. As you move on, utilize the RPO. You'll have to as you run out of those scripted plays, but you'll have that confidence of Joe Milton leading his team to a score or two, have him settle in there, right? If you want to see more, I do have every snap of Joe Milton's Michigan career. I'll throw that in the description and up above. Make sure you check that out on the channel as well. All right, finally, number 3 of the key 3 here. Force third and longs. And I know this is probably like, well, yeah, you want to always do that to every team. It's especially important for Minnesota. Minnesota's strength in the passing game is their consistent RPO usage. It's harder to run effective RPO if you're doing it on 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9 scenario. You're less likely to be running the ball in those scenarios, so that tips the defense off to play more towards the pass in their reads rather than the run. Obviously, this isn't foolproof, but again, I think Michigan's strength is in their pass rush as well. Really high on Barrett, bringing pressure from the Viper position. You have 2 high-level defensive ends in Pay and Hutchinson who have actually slimmed down a little bit this year. They can really bring it on the pass rush here to get some pressure on Tanner Morgan, make him uncomfortable. You also this year have some athletic defensive tackles on the rise. You have Julius Welshoff in his 3rd year now. He's 6'6", 280 pounds. He seemingly hasn't lost his athleticism, as mentioned from the staff. And then you also have Upshaw, a legacy guy who's been in the system for a bit. You got Don Brown saying weird things about his butt, that he's grown into the position. So those guys are guys I would expect to be in a 3rd down package, to be more athletic types to really bring the pass rush. And then you have a couple guys who could really break out. You have Ojabo, the guy out of Scotland who's only played football for a couple years. That's kind of at that Rush, Uche, Sam role that could really bring it as a kind of rushing linebacker type. He flashed a ton on his high school film. Again, that's all we really have to go on, but a ton of athleticism. I'm really excited about him, and he's been talked up by the staff as well. And then finally, you have Will Mohan, true freshman, Apache, the true next guy at Viper position behind Barrett and Solomon, a guy that Don Brown has said can really get after the quarterback, that you don't really have to teach a whole lot in that regard. He brings it, and his playing speed is really quick. So again, even with the loss of Uche, a really good pass rush unit, and I think the more situations you can get for that, the better off Michigan is with how just Michigan approaches the pass game overall. So those are my top 3, guys. Let me know what you thought. Let me know if there's maybe a key that I missed or something that you think is more important than mine. I'm curious to see what you guys think. But yeah, let me know of this series if you want to see it in future weeks as well. I can't believe game week is here. But yeah, thanks to everyone who's subscribed to the channel. If you haven't, go ahead and click it down below. Throw a like on the video if you can. It helps a lot. And yeah, beyond that, guys, happy game week. Stay safe out there. And as always, go blue.